community that have been like really interested in trying to see how much they can help newer players with, just information for the most part. But definitely, yeah, a lot of changes definitely for sure that happened with Wiz. So you got a lot of catching up to do, but don't stress yourself too much. Just take it slow, but eventually you'll begin to understand as time goes on.
For sure. Fair currently has a walkthrough series where he was only spending his on membership. That's huge.
Oh yeah, he definitely has Ferric definitely does have a really good guide for pets, especially like if you're a newer player, because it's like more current now compared to how it was before. Ooh, we got a Fire Shark play coming in. Could be a good Talos killer. I'm pretty sure he needs to crit it though. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, forgot how much a crit is actually worth. I think it's like 35.
It's 1.5.
1.5.
No, 1.3. I mean.
1.3. All right. Yep. Yeah. Fire Shark definitely really good. Definitely keeps her a little bit aware of the anytime she tries to summon in Talos. So I doubt you'll see a Talos play here because it's definitely going against an offensive school. So more than likely you're gonna not see Talos plays more likely in this type of match. If it was against an Ice, yeah, you'll probably see it because it's a little more defensive school. But it's Maycast Shatter coming in. Oof. Definitely not a spell you like to see. Takes an open Athena. I mean, it only makes sense. Athena is definitely one of those spells where you can technically somewhat use it as a way to counter the Ifrit. It's not necessarily the best, but it definitely is something that can be a little bit of a potential of a decent Ifrit counter. The one thing bad about it is really just the fact that you have to use pips in order to use it, and quite a decent amount too. But on the bright side, you do get the shield. It really, at the end of the day, it just depends on, your pip management, and it also depends on the strike players or not. Since this doesn't really allow a strike, it is a very good play almost no matter what. A very nice power link play right there as well. Trying to get a little bit of the healing back. It's very nice. Love to see it. I'm wearing a mask when the update comes. Oh, honestly, dude. Dude, the faces don't look that bad. Oh, we got a Ninja Pigs play right here. Oh yeah, she's definitely taking some open shots here. Yeah, she definitely wants to play offensive against a fire for sure. Can we get a crit? No crit. Okay. Let's go do a decent amount. Yep. Very offensive. You love to see it. As I was saying, Edwin, you don't really have to worry too much about the new faces. They have improved on it a lot, actually. And with the Magic Mirror now costing gold, you can actually fix your face pretty decently, actually. I just think that the default faces just look really bad. But with the fact that you have more customizable options, you could definitely make it work for sure. So it's not terrible. There still is some fixes that they said they're going to plan to be making, but so far, compared to the last time they had the new faces, it's definitely a huge improvement for sure.
For sure, yeah. Just have to find the right face.
Yeah, this is definitely a really good thing that Bay is going for the offensive here. We're seeing lots of DLT spams, probably to prevent her from playing a little too defensively, so it only makes sense for her to play very offensively against him. So it's interesting so far. All right, we got a Mistef shield right there. Very nice use of Aegis. Now that he knows for sure that Bailey does have a Maycast Shadow Pet, definitely could ruin the game for a lot of people. Yeah, that is some solid dot damage right there. Who knows? I might actually see some King Art play here. Either that or another Orthoris play like the last time.
Might be, Blade and Reliquary, Rosex does a lot.
I think it really depends if Stephen goes for like another shield that's a very similar type. If that's the case, then more than likely we might see a King Artorias play. If that's not the case, more than likely we might see an Orthros play. So we see the Myth Wall coming in hats. It's actually Reflective Wall, but we're just calling it Myth Wall because it's
Easiest
Myth. It's just easier to say that way. Luckily, no Maycast Shatter that moment, so that's actually very good for him.
Oh, Prism!
That's definitely solid. Who knows? We might even see a Celestial Calendar if it's open. I doubt it, but it's a possibility. It's there. Now my question is, what exactly she's going to go for a single hit? We got a weakness coming in, very solid. He probably does expect an open shot right here. Although Stefan does now have a pip advantage here, so you can definitely do some combos whenever the time comes. Yep, there we go. We got a fire set shield here now.
Kinda, yeah. He freezes up. Hi. But not.
A power link. I mean, this is still really solid. Like, you can never really go wrong with a power link here in this type of PvP mode, where shadows aren't allowed, basically.
I'm just too focused on ranked. Did some matches earlier, so.
Yeah, that's part of my thing too. It's like I kept thinking of like, you know, how ranked PvP works, and it's just so much different compared to like how it is in tournament format. It's really like some minor changes, but even so, those minor changes are really major in like the ranked PvP sense, because you just see it so often that it just becomes the custom. So we got another blade coming in. He hasn't really shielded yet, so I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen here. Maybe an Ifrit play here, since now that Bailey is open. But then again, it comes to the question, do you have a response for what's going to happen next, since you'll be at a pip disadvantage once again? We'll see what happens here. We got an Ifrit play. So he's probably going to go for an Ifrit play to maybe like a tower shield or some sort, just to make sure that he, you know, gets himself some protection of a very open hit because of the convert. Who knows? Bailey might even just go with an Empower.
Power would work, yeah. Do her a lot.
Empower is definitely one of those moves. It's very good counter to Ifrit. The only problem with like Empower in terms of like, you know, the max level PvP sometimes is usually it's either the fact that you don't really have time to respond because max level PvP is just too fast paced with like shallow pips. And then obviously as a Death Wizard, who usually tends to do blade stacking, it's not always a viable option for them. But in this situation it is.
100% Blight Death struggles versus Fire ranked.
Yeah, definitely. Just say Thor. Literally, dude. Thor is like the perfect counter to E3. There's other counters to E3, but it's not necessarily what I would consider the perfect counter. But Hammer of Thor is definitely like the perfect counter to E3. It's like they were made for each other to just hate each other.
For sure.
Yep. I knew we were expecting a King Art play sometime soon. Yeah, it really had to depend on if it was going for another.
Kirsten Jenner's King Art.
This is a pretty solid move, though. I definitely like this move. He could always like triage it off, maybe, or try to shift it off, but then he'll be open to another hit once again. So who knows if it's a good move or not. Make has Reliquary, I'm pretty sure.
Could dump all their pips and go for Orthros.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something that could be in consideration here. Let's see how much this does. That's all right. It's going through like 2 set shields and resistance. Yep, I kind of had a feeling the triage was coming. I'm pretty sure that was like her only move at the time. Unfortunately,
it does like 1.2 per tick out of shield.
Yeah, definitely. All she really has to go through is 2 reflective walls, so it might be something for her to consider. They'll probably go for the offense, but now at this point, it's really all up on pip advantage here. And right now, Stephen doesn't really have much of a pip advantage, but he could play a little more defensive, so he can probably go for the massive, offensive defensive of Ifrit. This time, he actually didn't go for it. He's going for a more offensive case, which makes sense because he has a
Brim and Brim. Because this does a lot.
Ooh.
She has to send like a Basilisk or Wildwraith.
Unfortunately, she can't.
Chimera.
Yeah, Chimera was definitely one of her better options here. That's the one thing about Ifrit, man. It's just so good offensively and defensively that there's just like there has to be a way for you to just like remove it. And unfortunately, by doing so, she was pretty much unable to do the combo that she was kind of hoping for in that situation. Another power link here. Yeah, at this point, like, I think Steven probably has it in the bag. It's a possibility.
Sure. She could try and play it into, like, Wildwraith.
I think that's the only thing she can do at this point.
Yeah. Hope she crits.
Athena, that's a good move too, though. You have to keep in mind, most likely, since you saw the shark play at the very beginning, he probably has another shark press for a finisher. And if not a shark, he probably has a fire elf, which is also a really solid finisher. Now with this, however, I think Stefan is going to probably go more towards the defensive end.
Oh, it's Shatter.
And a may cast Shatter on his end too. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty much over. It's very unfortunate how it had to end with a little bit of an RNG that usually tends to detect the game, but it tends to happen. We got a weakness coming in. Honestly, there's really not much that Stefan has to do. Unless somehow Bailey has like Grendel's amends and, just happen to crit it. We go for another Athena here.
This isn't killing.
No, obviously. Yeah, she definitely had the momentum at the very beginning. It's really unfortunate.
That Ifrit is just so powerful.
No, even then, I think Stefan played it really well with, just kind of making sure that she is still taking some damage. She doesn't necessarily get to play too defensive as she would want to. Power Link definitely is very powerful in the situation where you're not allowed to use Shadow Enhanced hits since it basically gives you a little bit of health. Does a considerable amount of damage to your opponent and also prevents them from shielding. So if you can just play that while also conserving your pips, you're pretty much solid for the most part, especially in this situation where Myth doesn't necessarily have a heal unless somehow they have Grendel's Amends. And even if you do have Grendel's Amends, the only problem with it is that the heal per pip isn't necessarily as great. And also you have to build some stats to make it fairly effective. So like crit or even healing. And looks like we have Stefan taking this one here. Very solid play from him. Very solid.
Yep, for sure. It'll be interesting how he pans out the rest of the regular season. We're on Robin.
Indeed, another win for Stefan. Congratulations. He's up another point. To be precise, he's also 2-0.